Hi, everybody. Tim Hughes here. I'm the CEO and co-founder of DLA Ignite. With me today, I've got Nick Bennett, and we're going to be talking about his book, B2B Influencer Marketing, Work with Creators to Generate Authentic and Effective Marketing. Nick, great book. And it wasn't the book I was expecting.
Is that a good thing or a
And
bad
that's a
thing?
good thing, yes. because I was expecting another book about the influencer marketing is going to be really good and you need to be into it and da-da-da-da-da. And it's not about that at all.
Yeah.
Before we dig in, where can people find you?
Absolutely. Yeah. First off, excited to be here with you. But yeah, find me on LinkedIn. That's where I spend probably too much time, to be honest with you. But, shoot me a DM. Always happy to chat with people. Love meeting new people. And, the purpose of social media is to be social.
To be
So
social.
absolutely.
Yeah. So what inspired you to write the book, Nick?
So funny enough, I actually had no inspiration to ever write the book, but Kogan
At least
Page.
you're honest.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. It's honestly, it was the last thing. It was never on my bingo checklist to write a book in my career. I don't even, to be honest with you, I don't really read books unless it's a sports book or something that I'm interested in. Like, I don't read business books or anything. I'll listen to podcasts and audio, but Kogan Page came to me almost 2 years ago now. And they were like, hey, have you ever thought about writing a book? And I was like, absolutely not. And they were very persuasive. And after talking to them a bit, I was like, you know what? Like, this could actually be pretty cool. And this was even before I was still in house doing marketing for a company that I was at. And I was like, you know what? This could be fun. And I know it's not about the money for books at all, but
It's
it's
not.
about the opportunities that come from it.
Yeah.
And after, a 2-year journey, I'm excited that it's finally here.
Excellent. And I say, I really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Because, when I first looked at it, I thought, I've read lots of influencer marketing is the next year is going to be the big thing.
Yeah.
But the thing about it that I really loved is because you talk about how to work with creators. So I'm right. It's for marketing people to talk on how you work with influencers.
Exactly. And I think that's where the big disconnect is. There's so much content out there on how to be a creator, how to be an influencer. Everyone's trying to sell you their courses, but no one's helping these marketing teams in B2B understand what does that look like to partner with these people, especially when it's not something a lot of people are familiar with.
Because if you've not been an influencer yourself, how would you know what it's like? I mean, there's a famous. I tell this story a lot. That there's somebody on LinkedIn who runs a course on how to be an influencer who isn't an influencer, and it's one of those. How do you know what it's like? But what you do is you actually walk us through. These are the things that you need to be thinking about. This, if you're, this isn't about transactions. You need to be thinking about a partnership.
Exactly. And if I think about like a deeper meaning of like why I wrote the book, I think it's because B2B marketing, when you think about B2B marketing, I've been in B2B marketing in-house before I started my own company with my partner, Mark, for 14 years. So I've worked for early stage tech companies, later stage tech companies. And B2B marketing has always been a step behind B2C when it comes to innovation, at least in my mind. And we're always playing catch up. But influencer marketing isn't just a B2C play anymore. And I think, I'm sure you've seen it. The people on LinkedIn have seen it. Like, the way people buy in B2B has changed. Decision makers aren't reading white papers or responding to cold emails that the way they used to. They're consuming content from the people that they trust. And in
Yes.
today's world, trust is built through creators.
Yes. We've had a couple of comments. Just one saying, hi, hello from Atlanta. Marcello Arcele. I don't know if that's if I pronounced that correctly, but that's paired. That's come from you.
Oh, nice. How you doing?
So what are the biggest misconceptions that people have about working with creators?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest mistakes that people are making is thinking influencer marketing is just about paying people to post on LinkedIn. I mean, trust me, I've seen this both sides. I've partnered with brands and I have worked for brands that have partnered with creators. So like, I've seen the full spectrum. I've seen it from a very small pilot up into a massive $250,000 a year spend. So if you think about it, if you're giving 10 influencers the same copy paste message to share, that's not influencer marketing, that's spamming. No one wants to be spammed or pitch slapped or anything like that. The best partnerships are built around collaboration when the creator's voice is authentic and their audience sees the value. And that's the mistake that people are making, or they were making a lot probably 6 months to a year ago. Some of them have finally started to figure this out, but it's going to probably be another 1 to 3 years before I think mass adoption happens here.
Yeah, and I totally agree. And when I was reading the book, I kept going, yeah, I agree with that, because no one's interested in a buy my product because we're a great message.
Yep.
You know, everybody's saying it. We were talking to somebody the other day who does whiteboards. And they said, well, I'm the best in the business. I said, okay, we went onto LinkedIn. There's 4,500 that people that will do whiteboards. Wow. It's like, so how does someone tell the difference?
That's
and they don't know until they've used your so right. This is about trust.
Yep.
And what they're doing is that they're buying the trust.
Yep.
You mentioned, I mean, how do you see? I've always seen that B2B and B2C are different, but I've always kind of seen that B2B is following B2C. So whatever's happening in B2C, it will happen in B2B in 6 months or 2 years or something like that.
Yep.
Would you agree?
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I think the issue is when B2B companies try to leverage the B2C playbook, especially when it comes to influencer marketing. Because if you think about the B2C side, you have all these people on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube that, they're selling products, and these products, they're a lot of times short money. You're not selling or representing a 6-figure brand, for example.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest thing. And there's a stat that I reference in the book that says 83% of the time that a B2B buyer is engaging with your brand, they're not talking to your sales team. They're doing their own research. And I think that's the big difference from B2B to B2C. And I think people are trying to adopt and adapt to what B2C is doing, but you can't take it like word for word, because it is a different mindset. It is different places. Like social media is just one spot, but think about like the communities, podcasts, like there's so many other ways in B2B that you can leverage it beyond just going to post on like a TikTok or an Instagram.
So what should brands be doing to work with creators? Because you're kind of moving on to that, aren't you?
Yeah. I mean, I think they need to figure out how to get started first. Like if you think about, all right, like you don't need a massive budget to get started with influencer marketing. You just have to understand what is the creators in your niche. And I'm not saying that you need to go find someone with 100,000 followers, but you're probably already following them on social media. So understand who it is that you enjoy following. Why do you enjoy following? And then what is the strategy or the outcomes that you want to get going? Like, in influencer marketing and B2B, you're probably not promoting a specific product or go get a demo. A lot of times it's an awareness thing. And then it's up to that brand to figure out how to capture that awareness that they're actually putting out there. So I think it's like, you need to engage with these people. You need to comment on their content. You need to build relationships with them before you're even pitching them on a campaign. And if you approach influencer marketing as a relationship versus a transactional play, I think you're going to see way better results. And again, you don't need, like, I've built this for companies on like a $2,500 budget. Like it's not as expensive as people think it is, like, because they see the B2C side of it.
Yeah. And you get these reports of influencers earning hundreds of thousands of pounds. But I mean, in some cases, if they're shipping a perfume, the opposite side to that is that they're selling millions.
Right.
I mean, the big difference, I think, is that when you buy a perfume, what you're doing is you're buying it. If you don't like it, you're going to throw it away.
Yep.
Here on B2B, you may be spending hundreds of thousands, or the buyer may be spending, I'm going to go and buy a new accounting system, and I'm going to spend $250,000 on it, and I'm going to work with it for the next 5 years. It's a different prospect, isn't it?
It is. And I think that's the piece that's why you can't replicate exactly what B2C is doing, because it's not a $20, $30 perfume or cologne or whatever it is. Like, there's big products and brands that, one of the partnerships that we work on is with ZoomInfo. ZoomInfo is a massive brand and they're doing some really cool stuff. But if you were to go to purchase ZoomInfo as a product, I know they have a lot of different price points, but like you could be looking at 6 figures. Now, you're not just going to go because Nick says to go check out ZoomInfo. You're not just going to buy it because of that and spend, $200,000 and then rip it out because you don't like it. Like it's just one of the touch points across the journey.
And I think I think we have to be honest, is that from a sales perspective, we're unlikely to generate leads from influencer marketing. As you said, it's more likely to be awareness, isn't it?
Exactly. And then, I mean, there's a lot of tools out there that can then capture that awareness. And it's up to that brand to figure out like, hey, this influencer, this creator is driving people back to our website. Great. They did their job. Fantastic. Now it's up to us to uncover who these people are and provide valuable enough content that they want to engage with us, whether it's, newsletter, event, podcast, new research report, whatever it is. Like you need to then, it's not the creator's, goal to be like, hey, here's 50 leads that I'm going to give you. No, like their job most of the time is awareness, and it's up to the brand to take it the rest of the way.
You also go into detail, and I think this was really important in chapter 3. You talk about the legalities and the ethical considerations of it.
Yes.
Because as soon as we move into advertising, there is an issue. I mean, about what you can say. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So, and I think it's still a gray area because what I'm seeing? I see a lot of people on LinkedIn that are promoting stuff. It's very straightforward. Who's promoting stuff? Who isn't? And a lot of times, just like, a TikTok or an Instagram, you have to put like sponsored post or partner at the bottom of that. And a lot of like these, other video, I guess, video first types of platforms. I know LinkedIn does have this. No one's using it. It's like, this is a sponsored post because you want people to know, like ethically, hey, I'm being paid to promote this. Yes, I have used it. And if you're not using the product, that's another whole conversation that gets really, gray, but you should disclose in LinkedIn. If you look at LinkedIn's term, like TOC, it actually says anything that is a paid sponsored post must be like called out, whether it's through a hashtag, whether it's through just the text itself. Because if you look at like the FTC, like they specifically say that. However, LinkedIn's not enforcing this, which is a shame because I see so many people promote stuff, not tagging it properly. And they're just, they're getting paid. They're just kind of pumping it out. But like deep down, people can see through that. And I'm hopeful that the ethical and legal piece of that for LinkedIn specifically will hopefully get ramped up over the next year or two when more people even start to engage in this.
Yeah, I always put the hashtag ads and sponsor.
Exactly.
And obviously that translates into to X and things like that.
Yep.
What are you seeing as some of the most innovative or unexpected ways that people are using influencer marketing today?
Yeah, I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it being more of a part of an integrated marketing strategy. So again, like going back to like, hey, I'm going to pay you to post on LinkedIn. I've talked to so many creators and influencers that are actually moving away from that model. I talked to like 3 of them today. And they were like, yeah, like I don't want to do the one-off transactional play anymore. I don't want to just go do 2 or 3 LinkedIn posts and that's it. A lot of them have started to tie it into bigger kind of campaigns, which is, I would say, newer for B2B because it was so transactional. But I'm seeing people obviously do podcasts, events, virtual, in person. The LinkedIn piece is part of it. I'm seeing the newsletters, obviously. I'm seeing actually co-branded research reports or some type of definitive guide where it's from that creator, but it's co-branded with that brand on it. So it's like, hey, Nick put out this awesome research report about, creators in 2025. I enjoy Nick's content. I believe him. So I'm going to read it. But oh, by the way, it's also co-sponsored with, XYZ or whatever that is. I'm seeing a lot of those because again, the brand can then use that from an SEO perspective. Like there's so much long tail stuff that you can use on those kind of longer pieces of content. But I mean, there's probably like 15 to 30 different types of activations that you could use right now to make it part of an integrated strategy versus such a siloed piece of marketing.
Yeah, I got rickrolled. I can't. The CRM vendors sent a whole load of us this box, and they said you got to video yourself open this box. And I opened the box, and of course this big pop of stuff, which went everywhere, and then there was a card in it. And when you open the card, it basically went, "I'm never going to give you up, never going to get you down," and you couldn't switch it off.
I got that too.
You got okay, yeah, and it was like, it was that was unique.
Yeah.
And I mean, they got a lot out of it in terms of there was a lot of people that got that, and it was just a bit of fun as well.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it's like in something like that's interesting because I do know that they followed up with like other types of content and campaigns. Like I would say it wasn't just a one-off. It tied into a bigger campaign that they were doing, which again, I'm a full believer of that. They got a lightning strike from everyone on LinkedIn that was talking about it. So much video content, which we know LinkedIn is actually prioritizing right now. So it was fantastic. And then they rolled that into something even bigger. And I think that's the way that brands should think about it versus being so, I guess like one-off and transactional.
So Amit Kumar basically says partnerships work with transparency. That's going back to the ads and the sponsors bit.
100%.
So how are you seeing AI impacting?
It's making it easier to tell who's writing their content and who isn't. I mean, it's just become so easy. And I've seen a lot of LinkedIn posts that have dug even deeper into this, where depending on, M dashes and how those are used, and obviously the emojis and how content is like phrased, you can tell if it was done by AI or if it was done by the human. And this goes to both like writing your content as well as like, the people that are commenting. I get so many AI written comments on my LinkedIn stuff. And I just now reply with a robot. And I just write a robot back, and that's like my comment. And no one has like said this wasn't written by AI. So at this point, I'm just calling people out. It's made it easier for the people that are in it for the right reasons and the people that are authentic and genuine to stand out more, because all AI is doing is creating a sea of sameness. And the sea of sameness, especially with how big LinkedIn is, you're just going to get buried in everything else. Oh, it's just another AI written comment. Like this isn't like Nick's actual thoughts. Like for me, I would love, and the content that I love personally is when you dig into tactical ways that you're doing something, like lessons learned. And a lot of people can't talk about that because they only know the surface level, and they're using AI to get to the surface level, but they can't get, 10 steps below that. And the people that get 10 steps below that are the ones that I actually know are doing the work.
So if I'm a marketing person, I'm thinking of getting into influencer marketing, and I'm going to go out to go to creators. What could I do to get started?
Yeah, I think again, just follow their content already. And so in the book, I break down the 3 types of B2B influencers that are out there. So there's macro, micro, and nano. And most brands think that they need the biggest names in the industry. But to be honest with you, and I've seen this personally firsthand, the real power is in those micro and nano influencers, the people with small audiences, but they are highly engaged.
It's community more than anything else.
Exactly. And like these are the voices that actually move pipeline. If you get 20 micro influencers talking about your brand, your event more authentically, that's way more powerful than one big influencer who barely engages with their audience. And I'll give you a good example. There's someone that has I think he has about 120,000 followers on LinkedIn. I used to always comment on his stuff every single day. I'm not just saying like, good post or something like that. I put time and effort into it. He never once engaged with my content. And I said, why am I writing?
Why are you wasting? Yeah.
Why am I wasting my time if he's not even engaging back? And so I just stopped following him. And funny enough, years later now, he's actually fallen off. Like you don't hear about him anymore. And it's probably because he didn't give back the social aspect. This is, again, like going back to what we started at the beginning. This is a social media site. Like we need to be social. It's a two-way street. I put out content, but I also want to meet and build relationships with others on the other side.
So when you so just quickly, because we've only got about 30 seconds left.
Yeah.
When we, as a marketeer, if I'm going to reach out to an influencer or creator, what do I say?
I'll give you one sentence that will honestly probably help you out more than anything. Hey, I'm just going to use me example. Hey, Nick, I've been following your content for years. Would you ever be open to a potential collaboration? I think there's a lot of alignment there between myself and you, or the brand and myself. And that one sentence will work so well because one, the creator knows that, hey, this person actually follows my content. They know what I believe in, my belief system, all of that. They know my values. And two, like they're being honest. Like, hey, I would love to figure out a way to work together because I enjoy working with you. And in B2B, if you sent that out to, 10 to 20 different people, I bet you your response rate would probably be close to 90%.
Okay. Yeah. Nick, thank you so much for coming on and talking about your book, B2B Influencer Marketing, Work with Creators to Generate Authentic and Effective Marketing. If I wanted to buy one, where could I get one?
Yeah, you can find it on KoganPage.com. Search for it. You can also find it on Amazon, and I'm sure Barnes and Noble, a lot of other different websites as well.
And where can we find you?
LinkedIn, Nick Bennett. There's multiple Nick Bennetts. This happens a lot, but Nick Bennett from TACK, TACK.
Okay, excellent. Nick, thank you so much for coming on. As I say, I really enjoyed the book. Thought it was fantastic. And you offer so much advice in terms of marketers working for creators and creators themselves. It's really excellent. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.